What's up, everybody? Thanks for checking in with Callie. If you haven't, subscribe. So there's two potential destinations where the Clippers might send PJ Tucker. And the two destinations, I personally don't feel like the Clippers necessarily should send them there because, really, it might stir up the West even more and it might make things a little bit more difficult, possibly on the Clippers' part. And I know some might disagree because some might say PJ Tucker doesn't have anything left and he's not really the player he was, which is the reason why the Clippers aren't using him. But you have to understand it's all about fit. It's all about situation. It's all about matches. You see what I'm saying? If you match well with a team and fit well with a team, you can give them a different vibe. You can give them a different outlook in regards to how they play and what they can do defensively and offensively. Now, PJ Tucker's not as good offensively as he, was a few years ago, maybe like with Houston back then with James Harden and things like that. I'll say, maybe even with Milwaukee about 3-4 years ago when they won a championship, but he's still a formidable player and he still can play a little bit of defense, I believe. And, you add somebody with some defense to a team that's, kind of reeling a little bit where they can use a piece like him, it might make that team better. And it might come back to haunt the Clippers just because they trade him to that team and they face them in the playoffs. And it could be a whole different scenario. So the two teams, one is the Denver Nuggets, and the other one's the Phoenix Suns. Well, I don't think nobody's surprised by the Phoenix Suns more so than anything. But the Denver Nuggets, you definitely don't want to trade him there because the Denver Nuggets are already a good team. They're already a top team in the West. They're already a team you would have to see in the playoffs. And they're already a team that has beaten you in the bubble where a lot of people still harp on that, here and there just to try to throw shade at the Clippers and this and that. And if you give one of your players to them, that's only going to make them better because, see, you think about when they gave Reggie Jackson, to the Nuggets. Reggie Jackson has a championship. You see what I'm saying? Mike Malone is one of those good coaches where, unlike Ty Lue, he knows how to make adjustments and he knows how to make players fit, within his system that he actually likes. And I can tell you now, if the Denver Nuggets are pushing for PJ Tucker, they like what he does. They like what he brings. And Mike Malone sees an opportunity where he can utilize a player like that and get the best out of him. More like maybe a Bruce Brown type situation. Maybe he might not be as productive offensively as Bruce Brown was, but he can be as productive as Bruce Brown was defensively. And see, that probably all they feel like they feel like they need because, with the addition of Reggie Jackson and all the other players that they have enough offense. They're not really lacking there too much. And, Jokic is a force to be reckoned with also. Aaron Gordon is getting better the more and more we watch him play. Michael Porter Jr., these guys ain't going nowhere no time soon, and then, like I said, their bench is still good, still productive. And like I said, they're a top team. So, adding somebody like PJ Tucker could really make them a little bit more dangerous than what people might think. And that can come back to haunt the Clippers. And this is the reason why I say I wouldn't send him there specifically, because you would have, in a 7-game series, if they played the Nuggets now, it would go 6 games at least. A 7-game series with PJ Tucker, if Mike Malone can get something out of PJ Tucker that, maybe the Clippers couldn't because he's more of a fit, then it might go 7 games and who knows what happens. Look at the Russell Westbrook situation where Russ was with the Lakers and he looked totally bad with them. He comes to the Clippers, he looks way better. See, it's all about a situation you fit in more that makes you a lot more vulnerable for that team. And that's what people are not really realizing. And then when you look on the flip side with the Phoenix Suns, well, that's a situation where he would feel kind of right at home, because he's around KD, one of his, favorite people, and, Devin Booker, and Bradley Beal. They can use an extra defensive guy on that team. They really can, because they're giving up a lot of points these games that I've seen, and they look like their defense is kind of like, it's just not where it needs to be for them to be a legit contender. So adding somebody like him, not saying he will overly make them, better or something like that, but he would be more of a help than anything else, than a harm. I can definitely say that. And like I said, fitting in that situation, he might fit in very well, give them some good, defense, knock down some big shots, some extra shots, give them an extra, shooter on the wing. I still think PJ Tucker, if he's giving about 5 threes a game, he can hit 2 out of 5 from the corner. That's his spot, either corner, either side. So, that's production, and that's extra production. You don't have to ask out of KD and Devin Booker to go out there and do, along with Bradley Beal, if he's out there to play. So, like I said, adding that to their big three can only make them better. It can't really hurt them because that's a defensive guy. It's not like he's just an offensive guy like those three. And now you're just adding extra offense to the team. And, now they're an offensive juggernaut even more than what they already are, which really they have enough offense. Defense is really what they might want to predicate more on themselves. So somebody like PJ Tucker would bring them a good value and a good service in that way. So, when you think about these things, as an organization like the Clippers, you have to make the best decision for your team. You have to make a business decision, and send them to the competition is just not the way. Now, you can send them on the East Coast, but potentially, the 76ers were a team that came up about a month ago in regards to PJ Tucker as well, of him going there. Well, if he goes to the 76ers, he definitely would make them more of a championship team if he has anything left, because the 76ers are already good, especially with the ascension of Tyrese Maxey and the way everybody else is playing around. Kelly Oubre's, playing good when he's on the floor, and, Joel Embiid is looking like a second coming of, an MVP as he was last year. So, that can make them even better having another defensive guy along with the defensive guys they have. They do got Marcus Morris. You sent him there. You sent Nicholas Batum there, who's still playing pretty good. And you sent PJ Tucker there, or back there or wherever. And it like I said, with those type of wing defenders, they can give teams problems with all that type of length and defense and a little bit of a scoring ability, a little bit of scoring out of all those defensive wing players too. So, that could make them more formidable. So as the Clippers, you got to really be precautious about what you're doing and where you're sending PJ Tucker to. You don't want to send him to the competition. You don't want to send them to a team that's going to give them a better chance to win the championship than you. So in my eyes, they have to do something like what the Spurs did with Kawhi Leonard years ago. Kawhi wanted to go to the Lakers years ago when he was on the Spurs. The notion that came out there, it was said by his camp, and it wasn't a secret, and it was out there. But what did they do to Kawhi Leonard? They sent him right to Toronto. They sent him to a place where they didn't think he could win a championship. They sent him to a place where they didn't think he would prevail and be, the great player that he turned in to be, even more than what he was in San Antonio. And they just basically shipped him out and shipped him off somewhere where they didn't have to worry about him, and sending him to a team like the Lakers, who would thrive with somebody like Kawhi Leonard, especially back then, and probably would have beat the Spurs and won a championship in the Western Conference. It's not about that. You got to do what's best for your team. So like I said, they shipped him somewhere where he absolutely did not ask to be, absolutely did not want to be. And as a result of that, he left there after he won the championship and gave them, the biggest opportunity of their lives out there in Canada by getting them a championship. But he shipped himself right back out here to LA. You see what I'm saying? So, it's like you got to do things like that to better yourself, to better your situation. And that's why I say if the Clippers are smart, they'll do what the Spurs did with Kawhi Leonard years ago and ship him to a place where either he doesn't have a chance to make the competition better, or just ship him to somewhere, where he can, play more and utilize his skill a little bit, but maybe not be, an effect on them. And that's why I said I think they should definitely take that route. I'm pretty sure PJ Tucker wouldn't like that, but Kawhi didn't like it years ago either, but he made the best of it. Now, PJ Tucker's not a superstar like Kawhi is and was back then to put a team on his back and win a championship. But at the same time, it's you're better in your chance by sending him somewhere where it's not the competition. And that's how I see it. And that's, if I were the Clippers, that's exactly what I would do. I wouldn't look at it from any other standpoint. There's plenty of teams that would take him. Honestly, send him to the Indiana Pacers. They look like they could be a pretty good team, but they're no more than a playoff team at best. And they would love to have somebody like PJ Tucker add to what they have. And I don't think that's a team that will make the finals, but I could be wrong. They might make the finals. Who knows? But I highly doubt with a passion because I don't see them getting past teams like Milwaukee, the Celtics, the Sixers and that nature. I mean, I think it would be a dogfight if they actually had to play the Knicks possibly in a 7-game series. I definitely think it would be. So, like I said, you can send them someplace like there, or like I said, maybe even in Toronto Raptors, you know what I'm saying? So do something of that nature, but don't send them to the Denver or the Phoenix Suns. I think that could possibly be a bad move for them, making other teams better. You don't want to do that. You want to make yourself superior and make everybody else less. You see what I'm saying? So go with that route, go with that decision. If you're the Clippers organization, make the right decision, make the smart assessment in the situation and not a dumb one.